So what got you into music?
When I was younger, my mom really influenced what I listen to now. She used to play a lot of like Nerd and Pharrell and Justin Timberlake. Who else? Black Eyed Peas. Oh my gosh. She used to play like a lot of like Jay-Z, Kanye West. I used to listen to Jay-Z and Kanye West so much as a child. It was crazy. But I think that really carved what I listen to today. If anything, I think in this awkward period of me being in like elementary school and like middle school, or until 7th grade anyways, in that period I was really just listening to like Taylor Swift and Katy Perry, which is like really what everyone was listening to at our age at that time. So I'm not gonna be like, ugh, I can't believe I was listening to that at one point, because it's like that was everyone at that time. But in 7th grade as well, when I first got into Tyler the Creator, that's when like my music taste really like expanded also, because I remember listening to like Flower Boy for the first time, because it was 2017, and he fades in all of his songs together in one album, and that was the first time I ever heard something like that. So I was like, whoa. And so I think that mixed with what my mom was listening to and what she would play really crafted what I listened to and why I love listening to the music I listen to. And then as well as like when I first got to Chicago, and I went to my first DIY show, I think seeing the way people cared about their music and performing it, and like the passion that they have for the music that they make, really made me love music even more because of the creative atmosphere that those shows exude. So that's kind of, most of the reason why I love music so much and the way I do. Why do you love music so much, Addie?
My story is kind of like the opposite of that completely. Because growing up, my parents didn't really listen to music, and they still don't really listen to music. So outside of my parents and like my sister, I didn't really have like a huge input from people near me. So growing up, I was really just listening to the like Billboard Top 40, and I wasn't really that passionate about music from like a listening standpoint, but I always liked to sing when I was younger. So it was kind of weird because there was like this dichotomy of like liking to practice music but not really liking to listen to music as much, which is kind of weird. But I think I got to middle school and I discovered K-pop, and that kind of like kickstarted the enjoyment of listening to music a lot more, and like not just listening to it but just like analyzing it and like breaking it apart and being like, I really like this and I really like this and I want to do this. So that was middle school. And then the third phase of life was when I started doing like being in a band, and started performing. That that was like I don't know, I kind of felt like I went a little bit backwards, because I was like, I love listening to music. I love singing on my own time. I don't know if I love this band thing as much. So then I was like kind of in this like rut. Around that time was like when we had to do our like college admissions. And I started out, I was like, oh, I'm going to be a music major. Like I want to do this for the rest of my life. And then I get my schedule and I'm like, I don't want to do any of these things. Like I've done music theory. I don't like it. Like I know I'm going to hate this. So I was like, okay, so I need to go on Columbia's website and go search for a backup plan, because at this point I already accepted. It's like I'm going to this school that's like 15 hours away from my home, and I've already accepted it, and I don't want to do what I decided to do. So yeah, I was like going through the course catalog and I was like, wait a second, music business. This is like parallel to what everything that's I've been doing. Like I don't have to like practice music academically. That has kind of been, I don't know, that's not as fun for me anymore. So I found a way to kind of be involved in like the business side of things, and do what I was doing before, which is like analyze more in a business aspect than it is like music. But it's been really fun. So yeah, really different from what you had going on.
Very much different.
But for you, what about your major? How do you think that kind of like ties into what you're doing now and your love for music?
It's kind of same with you. I was a film major initially, and I was like, don't want to do this, don't like it academically. I didn't like it academically for a while, but I was like, maybe, maybe college will be different. Let me just see what it's about. And I was like, nope, I can't. So I tried doing like film in 2 ways majorly. And then I was like, yeah, I'm done trying to be in film. So then I became a radio major because I was like, hey, if all else fails, music is something that I can do because it is still something I'm passionate about. I mean, aside from liking music and listening to music, I did orchestra for a lot of my life. I did it from 4th grade to 9th grade, essentially. And I really like listening to music and showing people like what I'm listening to and trying to get people into things I'm listening to. And I feel like that's the basis of radio. So I was like, well, let me try it out. Let me see if I like it. And I really do. So I think it's really exciting. Thanksgiving break, I was in the car with my uncle, and he, we were talking about my major and my minor, and he asked me, and he was like, why don't you do a radio show? And I was like, you know what? That is such a good idea. I should make a radio show. And so from like then on, I was like brainstorming all these things to make a radio show. And somewhere along the lines, I was like, do I really want to do a radio show? And I was like, no, I do not. So I switched from radio show to doing a blog instead. And that's where the Limelight comes in, and this whole purpose for this blog and this podcast and everything else that goes within the Limelight.
You had to give the origin story because I came a little bit later.
Yeah, I did have to give a little origin story, but you came at a really good time. I feel like I was giving up on the Limelight so bad because I really wanted strictly POC collaborators or collaborators, geez. And I couldn't find anyone. I was like, what is going on? Like, I had advertised on my Instagram. I was like, hey, if you know of anyone who can do this, this, and this, like, hit me up. Let me know, like, because I really want to do something cool. And no one of color was hitting me up. I was like, oh, this is terrible. So when Rachel told me and was like, hey, my friend also wants to do a music blog, and she's actually an SPB, like, you guys should, like, talk about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, let me know today, like, tell her, please.
For context, Rachel is our mutual friend, and SPB is a club that we were both in.
Oh, right, yeah. SPB is a club, and Rachel is our friend. Also, the social media coordinator of it all?
Yes.
And a graphic designer.
Rachel does so much for us. But yeah, basically what happened was I love blogs. Like, I love reading them. I know there's, like, a lot of discourse about if they're, like, a dying art form or whatever. But I really love reading blogs from, like, creative directors, just people in the industry. I like music reviews, too. So it's always been something I wanted to do because, I don't know, I think writing, like, journalism for music is, like, a completely new skill that I've always wanted to learn. So I was like, oh, I should start a blog so I could practice that. But this is where the graphic designer importance comes in, because what I had was horrible. Like, it was like, I don't even remember what site I was using. I won't name drop it, but it just did not look good. But I was like, I don't care. Like, no one's going to look at this. Right. But then at some point, I am sitting next to Bri and the conversation comes up, and I get shown, like, all of the drafts and stuff like that. I was like, oh, this is legitimate.
I've grown up to learn to be like, if you're gonna do something, do it thoroughly. So I was like, if I'm gonna actually legitimately do this, let me seriously do it. So I was like, I need 2 graphic designers, I need this, I need that, I need to really like think about this and know like what the expenses are, what I'm doing, like this, that. So I was like, you know what, if I'm gonna show this to someone, I want to really like get them on board.
Yeah, it was serious. Like, this is a production and we want more people involved. So if you fit the description, then please do hit us up, because
yes, please
we would love to have you. But yeah, I feel like we're still trying to like figure out our intention with the Limelight completely, but as of now we both know that, like, going to these DIY shows, just being in a creative environment within our school or just in the city, it's so cool how many people are like actively trying to follow their dreams and, I don't know, start a movement or just start something of their own, and just like the joy and happiness when we can do that communally. So we hope that through our blog that we can kind of like bring people together, kind of be like a networking hub, and also just share our opinions and our happiness and like the emotions that other people are sharing. Like, we really want to amplify those voices. We also want to share our own voices. So yeah.
Right. For sure. No, I agree. I feel like I really want this whole blog and this whole thing that is the Limelight. I really want it to be something where people get the opportunity to showcase like what they're seriously passionate about. Passion is the whole thing here. I feel like passion really drives everyone, and passion is something that I want to show through the Limelight for sure.
I also feel like our specific voices aren't usually given platforms or blogs for that matter.
Exactly.
So I hope that it can be kind of like a unique perspective, and we can offer something else, some other opinion that doesn't already exist out there. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of see the Limelight as like this like entity that like we have our plans for it, but like once we share it with the world, like it's gonna become a whole other thing. Like, you can't control what people take away from your art, which is super cool. So we hope that it just kind of keeps evolving and growing and like turning into this like interactive and communal thing with, you know, people in the city, people at our school, just everyone
Around the world. Limelight worldwide, y'all.
We gotta dream big.
But yeah, anything else?
Look forward to what's to come. We're gonna have a few things out. Obviously we're still just starting, so don't expect a content dump yet, but it's gonna get going. So
I feel like when it releases, well there will be a couple things.
Yeah, we won't say anything yet, but
no, there will be a couple of things though.
Yeah, and we're excited about what we have now, so look forward to that.
Exactly.
Yeah, this was just an introduction episode. Oh right, I'm Adi.
I'm Bri, if you know.
Yeah, in case, since we forgot about that, I'm gonna mostly be doing the blog part of the Limelight. I'm gonna be a writer. We're gonna have an about page with all our contributors, so check that out. What are you doing, Bri?
I will be the podcaster, so you'll be hearing my voice the most. There will be a couple different type of series on the podcast. I'll have some guests for a little thing I like to call a musical conversation. Hopefully I can share my music opinions with you guys. And also, I don't know, I like to curate music, so there'll be some playlists on the blog. And yeah, it's kind of what I do.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. Hopefully we're gonna keep growing the team, but right now, this is us. Hello.
Hey.
Yeah. Yeah, welcome to the Limelight.
Welcome to the Limelight and this podcast. Woohoo.
Yes.
Yay.
Yippee.
That's all.
Goodbye. We'll see. Well, you won't hear me next time, but I'll be around.
You'll hear me for sure. But thanks. Thank you for listening, and hope to see you again.
Yeah, if you got this far, oh my God, thank you.
Seriously. But yeah, listen to the next episode and the next one and the next one and the next one, and keep supporting us and the Limelight Podcast.
Thank you again.
Bye.
Bye.